She said even though she said one person
This is the front actual resume what we show now. All of the inside. Okay. So if you wanted to make notes on it.
I know, I need to go to bed. When I got off my nut. I was finished. I have to leave work. I was thinking, I'm in France, but I have to find a way to cut it out. I said, no, I go to bed. I get up Monday morning. When I get up, start going there, and then when I text you, I said, that's gone. Gone.
Everyone can make out that week the screen so far here. I mean, unfortunately,
you might need to turn it more this way.
Girl, this thing may come off and all.
Let me see something.
I mean, you can shift
He don't want the connection cord.
We love the auto one from the state, so that will take a while.
You know what room available? No, but all of them. You need to call it.
No, you on the screen is ginger.
See, she knows sex with the touch. Yeah.
When we got her weekend, we
yeah, like the colors come in.
We try to tell her,
she like to be pampered.
Yeah.
Very, it was so easy to have it projecting up there. But what I'll do next time, if I ever get y'all together, I'll put everyone in comment. So we can do it like that. But it ain't gonna be that long.
Yeah, no,
it ain't gonna be that long. So we can get y'all. Yeah, so you gotta keep playing around. So folks, those who have gotten the deck, the documentation, that covers everything. That's up here. If you want to, you can make notes on it, or you can make separate notes. No matter.
So we ready to get this PowerPoint slide then?
You got that. You got the last thing. I gave it to you last thing, but you can make additional notes on it if you want to. Yeah, man, you can get that if you want to.
Sorry.
Okay, so having said that, you try to keep things a little light. We ain't trying to stress you all out and everything like that. But I know you guys are the paper that you submitted on Monday.
That's the same thing on Wednesday, right? No.
Ain't see you.
Is it you?
No, we didn't see you. Wondering where you were. But yeah, I mean, it was your first paper. Like I said, I don't know how far they got to do review or whatever. But I propose tonight, the first hour, we'll touch the exit strategies. Because we did the CDD last week. So exit strategy, wrap that up, rub the PowerPoint itself, the hard copy, and then we'll go into the paper. Because I know you may not want to think about paper right now, but if you at least have your little framework, and if you work 1 hour, 2 hours a week from now to July, you will be coasting. Because you wouldn't have to be rushing. You would already have enough line. So what I propose to do, I'm going to give you a guide, a little guide. I was working on a guide. I looked at it, and I was putting points inside it. And I actually gave you one of my old papers. It's almost similar. But I had to blot out like the names of the particular institutions. But at least you'll have a guide. That's how it was done before. I got a A in that paper.
Wow.
So you can probably. I ain't tell you go copy boy for when I got that paper. At least you'll have a guide. So that's.
So you did that paper what we did before? What we did last year?
It's similar. I did something similar. Yeah, that was 10, 11 years ago. So.
Sorry, you what?
Yeah,
but hopefully we can get you all through this one. So now we come to this exercise now talking about exiting clients. We went through this one last week with our friend in the back. Was it you who said you were married, Denzel? It wasn't you, eh?
Me.
Oh, it was you, eh?
This is her.
Someone
She wouldn't marry. She wouldn't marry. Right.
For those who weren't here last week, we were talking about customer due diligence, how we got to risk rate clients and we don't onboard any Joe who walk in. Everyone is who comes to our institution or your institution is sized up. You have to risk rate them from low, medium to high. Categorize them and then review them periodically based on the risk they present to the institution. Yeah? And it's life. Let's be real. If you in your convenience store late in the night and a pastor and his wife come, he got the call on and you always say, oh, come in, grab. But if you got 4 fellas coming and they got these dreads, dark shades, and then they just keep looking around like that, I mean, you already made a profile in your mind that, hey, these fellas looking like they want to rob. They may be on the way to concert, you never know. But we do it every day, and it's profiling. But this is in a good sense, so it's a customer due diligence profiling. So let me pick up the pace. Let's get us to where we need to be. Touch on beneficial ownership. And a lot of this stuff what I'm touching on now, you'll see in your next paper. That's why I didn't stick on that point. It's pretty long. Beneficial ownership. You can see that again in your next paper. Yeah?
Again?
Yeah, man.
But you are
So, sorry? Your paper, the paper with July.
Oh, sorry, stay focused. No, I can't.
No, we looking ahead now. We ain't
We're talking about that.
no, I don't want looking back. Looking back is dead. We ain't looking in the back anymore. And of course, stuff like PEPs, that's why I stayed on that topic a lot last week, because you will see that again in your next paper. So, and I try to include a lot of real life scenarios, you know, because everything, yeah, you got the book thing, but then you got someone who speak from some experiences.
Right.
Hey, how you? Did you get a paper last week? Huh?
Don't kill me, please. I promise it will be like every day I'm bring it.
Okay, I'll give you, if you prompt this up, I'll give you a copy once we finish. Okay, so escalations and exits. All of your customers are not good customers. Does that make sense? Yeah? And everyone that you onboard to your financial institution or you want to do business with or propose to do business with, they're not the same or not on the same level. Some of them will be more riskier than others. Yeah? If you have someone who is a food vendor or a newspaper salesman or, you know, someone on, you know, one of the street vendors, they come in, you will probably risk rate them low. As opposed to someone like a fat, a legally exposed person. And we know why. Because one, the deposits are small, coming from the water sales. The next person, he controls the public treasury. So which one is going to be more risky? No? If I'm talking fast, let me know. Which one will be more risky? The water salesman? Why? One of the things with people, you gotta be able to respond. You can't just say, oh, because he's a fat, he'll be more. You gotta be able to respond. Why? Because he can influence decisions. He can control the public oil strings. He can influence other parties susceptible to corruption. And these people can change legislation in their favor. They have cronies around them. There's a lot of stuff. There's the stuff that the examiner's looking for. When you say, oh, he's a fat, he's high risk. High risk for what? Why? He has a prominent public function. He has public office. He was elected. And when you're elected, that means you have influence. People who gravitate to people who could make stuff happen. If you can make stuff happen like that, how do you say it? Make it rain? Yeah? Let's be real, that's life. If you can influence a decision, or let's say for example, you're an MP, I can help you get an office. I hope you get Ministry of Works. I got a construction company. Boy, we had a contract. It'd be nice if you could bless me when you get in office. You think that happened in the Bahamas? Oh, I'm just saying, I mean, you ain't got evidence of that. You ain't got evidence of that. And also, sorry, who? Yeah, you gotta say alleged. You gotta do this. You keep doing this quotation, alleged. And of course, sometimes, while you're thinking you're doing such a good or human staff taking in these clients, sometimes you may discover you have a bad client. And then you may have to sabotage, exit. Have you ever seen when you read the newspaper sometimes and you're like, oh shoot, he get locked up? I would have never thought him, no man. He's a deacon. Why you get locked up for that? And you give out that experience? Me and my staff, we see that a lot. We like, oh shoot, him? I never thought that. The guy in Freeport, $1 million in the house in the ceiling. Who's keeping $1 million in the? You remember the guy, the father and 2 sons? We're like, really? $1 million in the ceiling? How did I get there? So when you see something like that, the negative news, you want to keep that person with your institution. 40 pounds, 40 pounds, 400 pounds of marijuana and $1 million in the ceiling, and he's your client. So you already thinking, well, we may have the DXIT, but there's a certain way to exit. You just don't exit a client. It's a protocol involved. Even any financial institution, as a part of your AML policy, you would need to know how to escalate for one. Whenever you onboard it, based on don't worry. Yeah, it happens. Sudden movement, just do that. So y'all can move. You can't. Let me explain something. You reserve the right to enter and exit any relationship, but then there is protocol how you do it, because there are legal the stuff you can see in your paper. Again, I dropping some nuggets for you. There are some legal ramifications. You just don't exit just like that. You got to make sure you cover your bases when you're talking about exit. It could be unwarranted. I'll get to that. But anyhow, escalations and exits. What's going on? You're writing? Oh, okay. The computer don't like when you write. Okay. Anyhow, so there are two controls. Escalation. And escalation simply means going up the ladder, getting the proper sign off on authority. That's basically what that means. Reporting an issue to a higher level or authority for approval or decision. Senior management for review and approval. And decision to exit relationship or transaction are separate but related. So if you got a pet, you would need, I'm used to using pet because that's, hey, how you? You were here?
Oh, no, I was awake.
Oh. Okay, so as it relates to high risk clients, be mindful of this. You need to get senior management sign off, whether it's board, business unit head, compliance. You need to get sign off from those persons before you onboard. Yeah? It's not woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's international best practice. Remember that. You can see that in your paper. You got to get senior management and compliance sign off on or both before you take on any high-risk clients. High risk includes your PEPs, persons from sanctioned or high-risk countries and jurisdictions, persons from countries that are deficient in AML, perhaps, or persons who engage in stuff like, let's just say, maybe virtual currency, perhaps. It all depends on your institute's risk appetite. You know when you get hungry, you want to eat, but you don't eat every day. You have to have a risk appetite for your institution. Make sense? I'm saying that to say you don't bite at everyone who walks through your door and say, hey, I want to open an account. I don't know if I should go here with this and say this. I'll go there. I ain't gonna hear this again, right? It's only us.
Okay.
And he laughing, and he know why. I hope this ain't no one family, but if I say this, they'll so what? Stop doing foolishness. I think I have to give you one of these. Okay. There was a particular young lady came to my institution in January to establish a relationship with us.
Mr. Taylor, before you go on, where do you work so I can put it together?
Oh, no, you ain't put that in the paper. I can't let you put that in the paper. You probably got parties on up. But, so the young lady, she came to one of my branches and she wanted to establish a relationship with us. And I said, okay, so what you calling me for? Oh, I just want to run it by you in compliance. You're calling me fine, I don't care. Okay. What is it about her? She's been in the news a lot in the past. I was like, okay, now you got my attention. Okay, you for what? You're in the news for either good or bad. What's her name? her name's Kevin Major. I said, I'm trying to figure, okay, which one is, okay, how is she dressed? Oh, she's decorated. She got on a nice outfit. And I said, okay, Kevin was dressed. And she's loud. And she said, okay, Kevin Major, okay. And I checked my records, dated by the so and so. They said, yeah, you know that. I said, okay, we're not interested. We didn't get to the point of exit. That part really escalate and consideration. We're not interested. Why? Because Kevin and her husband, Dwight, they were designated by the United States government as a drug, as drug kingpins.
Yeah.
You know how much dope you gotta sell for the United States to call you a drug kingpin? At least a ton. So you want to take that person as a client? And she got the nerve to come to my little bank and say, well, I'm opening an account. Really? Really? We, how do they say it, being on that run? Because you gotta also think of reputational risk. Because imagine she's your client. Your correspondent bank, you send in wires through the United States, and it hits the market, and they see that they run a world check on her name, Kevin's last name again. Kevin Major, and then it comes back as a positive hit. Your correspondent bank, and they're like, hey, you send a wire for your client, this Kevin Major. Is this the same Kevin Major? You just compromise your relationship with the U.S. market.
Take up with the bellies.
So not that we trying to discriminate, but we don't really want to touch people who were drug dealers. But it wasn't even a land.
People's bike.
We have persons that we have. I would recommend for you, for your institution, we have something called a caution list. So when you could probably include that in your paper too, if you see that. A caution list is just like, hey, we're not going to do business with these persons because they are publicly known to be involved in possible criminal conduct. In her case, it wasn't possible. She was deemed by the U.S. government. They cut a deal to release her. So we know that, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We know you was involved in some foolishness. So you have your caution list. These are the persons you even ain't gonna on board. As a matter of fact, they will exit from a relationship with us. That's the exit. As soon as we start hearing stuff like this extradition proceedings against the person, you got to start thinking about, all of a sudden, she's a good client. Now the U.S. government interested in getting her.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Please do.
I would have seen persons on our cautions list.
You have a question, too?
Yeah.
Excuse you. Go on.
Who has a relationship with the bank?
Mm-hmm.
And when you send the information to compliance to review, they come back and say, well, in a nutshell, okay.
Now, be mindful of this. You can have a caution list and you can have a caution list. I have a caution list. My caution list captures not just persons who I ain't gonna do business with. You have persons who are like peps. And the reason why the caution list was created, it was just really to be a trigger. So when you do enter that name as a frontline staff, and you put that name in and you're trying to onboard, some of the pop-up as an alert saying, hey, this person is tied to drugs. They may be tied to a PEP or high risk or sanction. It's really like a trigger. So when you design your, especially when you're writing in your paper, perhaps a caution list that's automated, driven, to give you like a flag or an alert that, hey, this name is a match or possible match. Yeah? So when you see something like that, I mean, you can onboard them, but then it's just that means, hey, compliance have to sign off, and you have to monitor their transactions close. Yeah? Oh yeah, you can get plenty away. But I was just telling the group earlier today, we are in the risk business. If you think you can be working in a bank and there's no risk involved, you're in the wrong business. Compliance is all about risk. It's all about managing risk. When the board comes to you and they say, hey, design something. We know there's a lot of risk, but there's a lot of money involved. Come back to us with a framework of how we can manage the risk. All compliances is just managing the risk, It will always be risk. You have dirty money in your institution right now. Every single bank has dirty money right now. Some probably haven't been discovered this yet. That's why you got all these systems, And now all these KYC, EDD, CDD, reviews, monitoring. That's all it is, It's there. And I guess in a way it's a blessing for us because it means you always have a job. Yeah, when you become the compliance professional, say if you don't have it already. So, When you have the escalations, escalations is another means of control. It takes that burden of the frontline staff. I gotta make up my mind. Do I take it more? No. Now you're headache. When you have a possible high risk client, you ask senior management. They have the headache, then they come back and say, yeah, we cool with it, or we ain't interested. Make sense? Take that burden off you, because you ain't gonna be the one to say, okay, let's onboard him. Come to find out he's a serial killer 10 times over. You're on that run, right? So you don't have the headache. But it's a good control too. And of course, exiting is another good control too, because you don't want to take on a risk that's too great. It's greater than your appetite, the bank's or the firm's appetite. Make sense? Trying to make it as simple as possible. I ain't trying to get another big or long dissertation. The responsibility in this case, when it comes down to those escalations, because you have to send it up the chain, the responsibility is for senior management. Laws and regulations require escalation, and this is the international standard now. Laws and regulations require escalation to the senior management for approval before regulated services, whatever service and products you offer, are given to that client. Make sense? So you'd have to get senior management sign off. A characteristic or action of the customer places that customer in the category of higher money laundering or terrorist financing risk, which the regulated crime using this risk-based approach. Last session we spoke a lot about risk-based approach. Risk-based approach in its generic sense is sizing up the client. Yeah? Sizing them up and determining whether the risk that they pose by onboarding them, utilizing our services and products, is just too great. That's all it is. You're sizing them up and creating a profile. So that's in your management's headache. Of course, you got to do your work now. You got to gather all the information at the front end, if you're a front end staff, and then you escalate to senior management. Do not just go to senior management and say, hey, should we onboard him? I know he may be high risk. You have to provide supporting documentation. It makes sense? Don't say, oh, he's a pet. How do you know this person is a pet? Is there a particular form that you need to complete? Any recommendations? One thing compliance hates, and I can tell you this, when staff comes and say, oh, yeah, this is risky. Yeah, tell us what to do. Like, you don't have a clue? I mean, like, you don't have a suggestion? Compliance is not everything. As a matter of fact, the persons who are actually in the business, they know more about the business than compliance. Compliance, they're the masters of the management of the risk and AML and compliance related stuff. You know the business. What risk does this person or entity pose to you? Yeah, at least make a suggestion. Escalation again, remember the international standards. FATF, Financial Action Task Force, they have numerous recommendations. But as it relates to the escalation process, recommendation number 10, senior management approval is required. And a story. So when they say, well, where are you getting this from? So when you go back to work and they say, well, why senior management? Hey, the international standard bearer for the world, which is FATF, say this is what we have to do. Case in point, and y'all just get blacklisted? Yeah, because y'all wasn't doing some stuff. The same FATF, right? So if they give you the standards and you need to do this and you need to do that, that's rule, that's gospel. They set the standard for the rest of the world when it comes to AML. And the story. We could say we ain't want to do it. You know, someone can get on their soapbox and say, I am not going to do it. Really? Then all of a sudden you see the paper blacklisted, advising other countries don't do business with them. They AML deficient. You don't want that. Because, believe it or not, we depend on Europe. We depend on North America. And we were using a reference last week in class. It's sanctions. We have to abide by OFAC, which is the Office of Foreign Asset Control, their rules. And that's US based. So we can decide, hey, we can try send a transaction to you in US dollars. Against the law, against their policies. So if they say, you know what, you violated our legislation or guidelines, so we're going to sanction the Bahamas. That means we can't operate US dollars. So what happens if we can't do any transactions in US dollars? Oh, yeah, exactly. Because how far you go just be dollars?
Well, the people in America think they could send $8 here, so I know they figured it out. So maybe it might be possible. I get that very often.
But we ain't gonna take that chance.
No, we can't?
Yeah.
How they can send $8 here?
See, the thing about it, when we hear words like sanction, blacklist, gray list, white, we don't be on no list. As a matter of fact. So those stuff, they like the kids said, the blacklist is the highest one, because you have the white list, you have the gray list, then you have the blacklist. We ain't gonna be on no list. Yeah? As a matter of fact, see, Father.
Like Florida.
You mean Miami?
They like Miami here.
So, for these escalations, recommendation 10, just remember this, if you make it as notes if you need to. Recommendation 10 speaks to senior management approval. This is what the international standard bearer say you need. Before you take on any high-risk clients, senior management approval, that's recommendation 10. Recommendation 12 says that senior management must approve all banks. Yeah, and the senior management can include your country head, the business unit head, compliance. They all considered senior management, so you need to get those signatures. Don't take it upon yourself, get that signature. Yeah, and approval. And recommendation 13, senior management must approve all your correspondent banking relationships. Because that's high risk too. I'm talking about, say for example, you want to get into a relationship with Wells Fargo, and that require you to do due diligence on them, and I guess, you know, they have underlying clients, so yeah. So recommendations 10, 12, 13 from your father. At least you have the document. This is just in this basic sense right here. There are benefits going up the chain and not taking it upon yourself to do it. Example, the benefits include analyzing the customer's customer due diligence. It educates senior management about their risk affairs. Don't take, for example, or take for granted that because you're on the board, you know everything. The board don't know about AML. They may know some of it. You are the expert. That's why they lean on you. Compliance, what's your recommendation? What's your policy? What's your guidance? Your guidance notes on this. You see the next question, say, hey, you got to do some guidance notes. Get used to that, because you can be writing a lot of guidance notes. Because when legislation change, you got to guide the business. This is the new legislation, how it affects us, how we now are going to mitigate against it. That's basically what your guidance notes are going to be. Yeah? Okay. So you need to educate, the benefit includes you educating the senior management. Another benefit includes controls are integrated with business controls, so that the goal of gaining customers and market share is tempered by the goal of taking on any legitimate customers who are who they say they are, who seeking to engage in lawful transactions with the regulated industry. Make sense, or you break that down? You got me, you got me. You have to put in place controls. Essentially, it means you have to have controls. Whenever there's no controls, there's room for abuse. Make sense? You're not going to onboard any and everybody. By doing analysis, one of the benefits is you now put in place some controls. Back in the day, you remember when we, like in the 80s, you just walk in the bank, you just did the little yellow little card, the signature card. They didn't even take pictures from you back then. They didn't even know what KYC or CDD, that didn't exist. 2000, y'all got blacklisted. That's really quickly, that word blacklisted. Because after the blacklisting, there were 10 pieces of legislation that was created in the space of what, 2 months? 2 months, House met, ain't no one going there, everyone was going around the clock. And 2 months, legislation passed. You want to get off that list. You got blacklisted again. And they say, hopefully before this week is over, you'll be off. You see how fast we work? So that means I head out there. So if you want to be able to do something, you got to put come back. I'm just saying, I don't know. Another benefit, management information report can be generated to provide an overview, period by period, of the risk classification of customers accepted and decisions made by escalation pod. So you can actually see a chart. You can actually, perhaps you need to go report to the board. You can say, okay, one of the benefits is we saw the type of customers coming in, we profile them, we're reviewing them, and this is what they're saying. Because again, the board, they're not doing the work. They're only giving you directives. You are the ones who actually execute. Yeah? So they depend on you, the ones who are on the ground seeing it. They only meet what? Every quarter? maybe a month or every monthly or quarterly, and they meet to discuss the direction, the way the company should go. And yes, they're held accountable, but you are the one who actually execute and carry the work. Make sense? So you have to provide the guidance, knowledge, analysis, and these reports to show that, hey, these are the positions we're taking on, this is the type of risk we're seeing, and this is how we're mitigating against it. What's your say? And of course, the board have to sign off. So you have to educate them and tell them the pros and the cons, and the way forward, your recommendation. Don't go there telling them, oh, this, you better do this, better do that. Board don't like that. I know when you become these MLR and compliance officer, you, oh, child, this is what you should do. No, you got to know how to work the board. This is what we recommend. You know, make it seem like this is how I do it. Make it seem like it was their idea. And I like the idea y'all came up with doing this, and this is what I'm proposing. And I'm sure you guys, in your wisdom, could probably try and say that yes, that was our idea. We sign up on it. They didn't do the Christ thing. It was you. But then, you know, when you do a proposal and then they didn't go to the bottom, but you did all the work. Y'all ever saw something like that? Where you do all the work, leg work, and then your manager say, let me see this. Let me take it home and look at it and see what I think. The only thing changed when that was the name. What your name changed? Yeah, they put a different head on it and say, yeah, I like this better. Yeah, I like this better.
And you read through it, just one little thing.
Yeah, no, that's life. That's life. So those are some of the benefits of escalating up the chain. And the most important benefit is that you take the onus or the burden off the frontline staff. Yeah? The rule of accountability. Do you really want to be accountable for taking on all these high-risk clients?
No.
Okay, so that senior management have that headache. Make sense? It's one thing to onboard and take in, but when you discover that they're not desirous on clientele, or they pose too great a risk, maybe you need to cut bait. Let's think about that for a second. Because when you see the person pairing up in, let's say, World Check, or the newspaper, or you word on the street. Yeah, we've seen that happen before, because you know we would get like those subscriptions, like your offshore alert and stuff. So we have to check those names against our database. I say, I hope that name in there. I hope that name in there. Mother Seki with us. And then you're like, they gave it us. And then when you check stuff, you got 6 accounts. What the hell you need 6 accounts for? And then you're like, now you gotta go and research it and find out, well, what the hell? Do it, you live there in Delaware. Why you gotta have all the accounts? Oh, I see, Brian. Why would someone who lives in the Middle East need a savings account in Nassau? Yeah, family. All right, let's go with that then.
Extended family.
Yeah. Extended family.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to question the obvious. I know if that makes sense. So I mean, you have instances where you have a second home resident. They have an access to the Bahamas. They have a reason to be here. They need to have to cover expenses and pay their caretaker, maybe maintenance of the house. You can understand that. Dude, you live in the Middle East, but you just want some money stashed here. Just saying. So exiting some of these relationships, regardless of a financial institution's size, complexity, and regulatory authority, each company will face this daunting task of exiting a relationship. Anyone ever gone through a bad breakup before? Yeah, all of us being sitting down in the room all snot, crying, with your little snuggie on and saying, I don't know what I did wrong. And then it was me. No, it was me. You remember that? No?
No.
Anyone remember that?
It was you.
I'm the only one. Okay, all right. But anyhow,
You're all alone.
all right. Okay, I'm the only one who's been through that. Then, all right. I'll take it. I'll take that. So exiting is a painful experience, but then there's a diplomatic way to do it. And sometimes, when you're talking about a business, you have some formal way of doing some stuff too. If the client has been with you for, let's say, 20 years, but then you discover after the fact something, you still don't kick him out like a dog. There's a way you still kick him, but it's a way, it's a way you do it. Yeah? And some of those clients, you may not, at my institution, we give you what's called a standard 30-day. But then you may have some instances where it's so hot, boy, we got a 48 hours in with shit. Because we ain't really know V1 look, it's getting too deep right now. Because you hear on the news, they're getting ready to charge him. He's like, what? No, boy, we
There you go.
we appreciate your business, but you know, we wish you all the best. I hope you win your case. But we really ain't feeling you right now. I mean, why y'all getting you in the papers? What you mean? Why we getting rid of you? You
That's enough rounds right there in the paper.
Yeah, I mean, not the allege. It can be allegations, but
Yeah.
sometimes when you
You
don't want to be known as the institution of choice for criminal conduct. Think about it for a second. If your control is so lax, and if anyone could just come in there and people on the street know that, man, him, the old crook. But look at all the crooks just go to that bank down the road. Yeah, I mean, you're like, trust me, this is a small community. This is a small community. Sometimes with these little sparks, you just never know. So, accident is an option to get out of that type of situation. The difference between financial institutions regarding the actual execution of the account closure appear when you compare risk appetite between those institutions. It all depends. Some institutions, they're so big, they're like, we'll take on that headache. We'll take on that challenge. We have the risk appetite. Maybe a smaller institution may say, you know what, we trying to take that on. That's a headache. Think about it like this. You got a client, you hear all these allegations. Then all of a sudden, your book will look real healthy because he has all this money parked in your accounts. Then all of a sudden you get all these orders, restraint orders. You can't touch that money. You got court orders, production orders. That requires effort. I mean, you got to get staff to review these stuff, monitor the account. You can't touch the account. You got to make these periodic report to the court, the law enforcement. That's a headache. Do you really want that? You got time to be spending all that instead of growing the business. You managing the accounts or affairs of this or client. That's headache. Legal. You got to pay for your attorneys to give you advice. And any advice they give you, that's what $1,000 right there. The clock ticking. They don't mind. They can run on from now until forever. They getting paid. But you don't want that headache. Yeah. Exit again. Regulatory guidance. The subject of AML de-risking is minimal, meaning that they're not going to give you all this advice. One of the rules they always say is that, hey, seek internal or external legal counsel. Lean on their advice. You know why? Because the regulators, they'll never tell you, oh, you need to exit him, and him. They will never be, they don't want to be held accountable. They will always say, hey, seek independent legal counsel, lean on their advice. Because at the end of the day, it wouldn't be said, well, central bank say, no, central bank tell you about the risk. And they will tell you that you need to mitigate against it. And then they'll tell you lean on your legal counsel and whatever. But they'll never say exit that relationship and so and so. They would never tell you that. But they'll give some hints. They'll give you strong evidence. Are you sure that's the client that you want to? We ain't tell you what to do, but you sure you want to take on? And they start doing all that little, huh? Yes, because you've been to the central bank's meeting in October. They're introducing new terms. They've updated their glossary in the terms. Anyone been to that? I'm the only one who been to that in October. They're now using words in their guidance. They're not using words like me no more. They're using words now like us. Yeah, and they're using words like recommendations. They're not using recommended. They're using words like requirements. They've actually upgraded now. Whenever you hear may, that's like telling a child, "Mommy, I can get some fries." You may if you want to. Choice. You have options. Yeah. If you tell the child, "Hey, you must bathe tonight," that's different. You gotta obey. Yeah.
This way or not. This way or not.
It ain't no great lines. It's like, look, go bathe.
Yeah.
You smell bad. Go bathe. Yeah. You can't get. That's what it is, and that's how. And part of the reason why central bank has done that too is because remember, see, Cardiff in June of last year, we got a rating of less than effective. So if you're getting a less than effective rating on your jurisdiction, you get blacklisted on top of that. I mean, we got a lot of weight. So they gotta beef up their game now and say, hey, look here, y'all ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're the regulators. We can increase those fines, and we can use some strong words to dissuade you from doing what you're doing. Make sense? And by the way, we had a meeting yesterday with the regulator, the FIU, and they were talking about the updated penalty regime and the fines that are in the bills right now, before the house and all that stuff. Yeah, they're moving stuff like the tipping off from 50,000 to 500,000.
Sure, jail.
Do you know what it's 500? I cannot find it. So I mean, they probably can throw me in jail. The reason, the rationale behind that is because, let's be real, we have a lot of crime. We have a crime problem. And the penalty and the crime is not proportionate. So they have to now, they have got some bigger fines and penalties, even more jail time. Because back in the day it was just 2 to 5 years. Nowadays it's increasing now to 12 years. What the hell are you doing in jail for 12 years? Reading books.
jail.
Sorry?
Be reading books.
Well, I remember what I said last week, right? Yeah, fellas, I pass folks all the time, and I see the fellas in the yard, and I'm trying to figure who grading them fellas there. So if you see me in my hand grade, then you know something happened. So why don't we get on that subject again? What we was talking about again? You make me forget. Oh yeah, the exit, yeah. So exiting this relationship, you need to, there's gonna be some bad apples, and then you have to cut bait. Sometimes even if the client is profitable, you gotta weigh between profit, risk, because whenever you get a bad name in a small community like this, it's hard to get detached from that stigma, and it's more even costly because after a bad name, you may have to clean some roundabouts, have some walk for the cure, do just to get that good name all over again. You have to do all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out at the wall, you know. But it happens. When you get a bad name, you have to clean up your image. Yeah. It's probably cost effective just to avoid it as best as you could. Yeah. So, in an older issue of the SAR activity review transcripts and issues publication, there's one brief paragraph: closure of account. The closure of a customer account as a result of the identification of suspicious activity is a determination for an organization to make in light of the information available to the organization. That one sentence can help you make a decision. They ain't getting you no guidance.
No.
That's it. That's why most FIs, financial institutions, have internal or external legal counsel that they can lean on in conjunction with the compliance team. Yeah? Because there's protocol, like I said, when you are exiting a relationship with some clients, there could be legal ramifications involved too. Because, let me give you an example. You have a customer, he's been with you, let's say 10 years. You've probably found some adverse information on them, probably online or whatever, and you tell them, okay, I'm giving you a 30 days exit letter. You know, a nice letter saying we appreciate your business and all that stuff, we'll be going in a different way, you know, a little letter. But he still has a business to run. Maybe he can't find an alternate banking relationship in that short time. He got checks that are coming in, all kind of stuff going on. You disrupting his business. Is that legal grounds to go back at you for that? There's nothing concrete, there's just allegations, but now you're terminating our relationship. Legal aspect. But that's the part you got to consider, the consequence of exit. So always that legal element, that's why we lean on your compliance and or legal. Because you don't want someone to come back at you and sue you. We seen it a lot. Think about it, if you had a business and your bank call you up and say, oh yeah, we exiting your relationship in 48 hours. You're like, what? I got all kinds of checks outstanding, I got receivables, and you, what? What these checks supposed to go? What account? I mean, what? They just turn your life upside down. You have to consider all of this stuff, especially when you design your policy and your exit and strategy. We went the route of 30 days because we think that was adequate time to get alternative banking relations or whatever. We say, you know what? 30 days from the receipt of this letter. And we hand deliver it to you, as we know. Final alternative. And you just draw down whatever. Don't bring no more business activity in here on this account. You just draw it down and tell us where you want this last check to go. Just let us know. And I mean, then of course, like I said, you have to be in your wording too. You got to be careful how you word those exit letters too, because you don't want to. You need to be gone by such and such. No. Remember, this person you're in a relationship with for all of years. You remember the breakup? Remember you was crying? Remember? So there was some good times. There was some good times, but then of course, you know, it ended. Everything. Breakups are always rough and traumatic. The same thing applies to for exiting with a business relationship. The same guy who's to come to your office in the coat suit and smile, hey guy, how you the little kids and all that. When you tell them time to break up, oh, we break it up, eh? And you're wondering how your car got all these scrape on it. And, like, what the hell? All kind of stuff start happening. That's life. Yeah? Because you affecting that person's business. Do anyone have their manual there? It was a point or two in there I had written down. I just need to refer to. Anyone have the book for that? Oh. Oh, you can. It's just one or two. I'll give it back to you. I think it was something I had highlighted, but I have it on here. The good practices, I covered that right here. Oh yes. When you're talking about the exiting, there's typically a team. I've been involved in a lot of the exit because I see a lot of the letters, and I actually drafted a lot of the letters. And they have me on speed dial. Oh, we exited so and so. As a matter of fact, as compliance, you have to recommend that they exit because of the risk involved. You're making the recommendation, of course, in the back of your mind, hey, you're making it so strong that, hey, it ain't like just a recommendation. You're telling them, hey, that's what you need to do. Why? You need to put it in there too, because they pose this type of risk to you. Regulatory, so and so and so. Control risk, expense, legal risk. You need to itemize as to why. And that's one of our biggest downfalls right now, because we're telling staff, oh, you need to do this, you need to do it, you need to do it. No one else say why, you know. Why would you take on a drug dealer to your institution? Think about it for a second. If you had to give an example, a drug dealer who's a known, publicly known drug dealer comes to your institution, he wants to establish a relationship. Why would you take him on? What are the risks that he presents to your organization? Reputational risk, for one, because he's known in the press. If he can send any wires and it's going through, let's just say Wells Fargo, it's going to go cross-border, correspondent by name, do checks, random selections or whatever monitoring, and they see this name here, the white major. They were like, okay, we know about the white major. Then all of a sudden it stops in GPS. They want to know what this is all about. Then you get these queries. Then you have to respond. You have to pull the file. Is he the same way? Oh yeah, it's the same way. Does he pose any risk? Let's think about it for a second. The white, he did his time in jail. In the federal prison. He said he lived that life. Last time I heard he was a Christian. Next thing I heard, he going to court again. They say he was found with what, 200 pounds of marijuana in the car. $3 in the morning? We ain't $3 in the morning.
Yeah.
So that, listen here, a leopard rarely changes his spoil. I mean, I ain't saying you can't change. Maybe he was water baptized and changed and all that stuff. I don't know. But the stigma attached to that. Sorry?
That stick with him
That
in
stick
life,
with you.
regardless of what he do.
That stick with you.
Yeah.
And the fact that if he can get into your door, you know what that means? People of his ilk will be attracted to that institution.
Yes.
You think he can tell people, boy, yeah, I just do, but the way it's really bad. I in Commonwealth Bank, I in Scotia. And then that becomes the bank of choice. Just saying. So you need to be able to sing from the same hymn sheet. Meaning you can't have the relationship manager saying one thing because you know they're close with the client. No one close in the relationship. Senior management saying we can exit. But then the relationship manager saying, I know, but maybe if you consider, they may take you back. Do it. Management saying you're exiting. They telling you to tell the client that you say, I don't know, maybe if I go back to them, down your place. That's above your pay grade. So everyone have to be singing from the same hymn sheet. You need to know what strategy, if the decision was made to exit by senior management, you're a level what? 3? A level 12 said you're gonna exit. And you're challenging that. And if you get a second job somewhere, that don't make much sense. So you have to be in sync whenever with your strategy to exit. You have to be in sync, you have to be accessible, because time, let's say for example, if I'm not available, I'll be exiting, I always copy in key persons, like the Ron. The Ron, I may be out, but if they decide to exit, at least you have all the information just in case. No one person should know all the facts. Because let's be real, you're here today and tomorrow you're gone. And continuity is a big issue. for compliance. I know that because one compliance officer leave for a better job. On his last day, you think he trying to get all the files, all the cabinets lined up. Dude, I got there, what, 5 o'clock? The key is right over there. Y'all can figure it out. I mean, just between us and then I get us again. Because when I gone to my institution, and all I did was a bunch of keys. They say, use the keys. And I said, what are these for? They said, keep playing with it, you'll find it. And I said, seriously? Is that much? And some of them, I said, you don't ever open that cabinet? They said, yeah, a little bit of WD-40. You get it open. I said, jeez. And it took me a while to get some of that stuff in order. And I said, jeez. But think about it, you already got the job now. So they ain't gonna say, well, the person who was there before you was gone. You know? It's your baby now. They're like, well, you sign up for this. So, for continuity, but how would this be if he was still there? He has knowledge. So one person should not have all the information in the head. That's dangerous. That's why when you have training exercise, AML for example, you always try to send at least 2 persons off. Because what if the 2 of them go away and one get a job off for a while on that side? Ain't coming back.
I think generally you should always have cross training anyway.
Yeah. No one
Always
is
have that.
dangerous.
There should always be a second person.
Yeah. Well, you have to.
If they allow the person to cross train.
Exactly.
Thank you, that's another factor.
I hear you.
Right there, that's another factor.
If the person they allow
They allow
you to cross train, that's the problem. Because they short staff, quote unquote.
Oh, short staff.
Everybody short staff.
Well, it'll be the death, sorry, but that's
Well, another good practice, you have to document. Remember when I said last class, CYA rule, cover your assets. You can drop some letters, but you have to cover your assets. And think about it, it has to be documented as to why. Yeah, and whenever you're gonna exit a relationship, ain't like in the relationship with the boyfriend, girlfriend. Oh, I just don't like you no more, and then you go cry. No, you gotta give a reason. Yeah, and you don't have to go in great details because we have a like I said, a standard letter. We don't go into great detail because when you give a customer too much information, they can come back and say, well, I was doing this, or I wasn't doing that. Or we say stuff like the generic. We appreciate your business. However, the account was operated outside of our risk appetite or whatever, however you all decide to do that. Period. Full stop. That's it. And they say, it's a shorter period, full stop. I've had RMs come to me and say, well, shouldn't we say something like, maybe it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Full stop, because you gotta,
Pandora's box.
you gotta answer all kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And you know, they come, oh, I can do better, like, you know, the relationship. I can change. Yeah, you ain't gonna change. You ain't gonna never change. That's why we end in this relationship. You know? I just use it as a... Okay? Yeah. And of course, the reputational damage and the legal damage, it's right on your page 451. It's costly when it comes down to reputational damage and legal damage. Very expensive, and it can damage your image. So that's that whole section in a nutshell. I don't know if that made sense.
What's the page number?
451. On page 451. Yeah, like you said, stay focused. So, just a quick recap. We did the CDD. And then we have some basic rules when you're going to exit. So you might see it in your paper. If you have to exit, remember, when you're on board, if there's high risk, you escalate. You don't worry about the low risk. You can manage those, but if it's high risk, you need to get senior management, board, compliance, take on approval. It's to protect you. So you won't have that onus or burden on you. Yeah? And making that call independent of the more experienced and seasoned persons, really. If someone's been on the job for 3 months and they're a CSO and they open an account, you can trust them to open the account for Bama?
No,
Of course not. So you need to have your more seasoned persons dealing with your high-risk clients too. Same principle applies. And that's why you escalate. That is your direct manager, senior management, business unit head, compliance. It has to go up the chain. It's covering bases. Because while your business unit head may sign off, compliance may have issues too. That's why we get all these persons involved. Yeah? And the same principle applies on the way out. You gotta make sure it's a nice standard letter, we covering our bases, and we getting rid of them. Especially, let me give you an example. It could be a client who has some deposit accounts, but also a mortgage. And you know, at the end of the day, you won't give them another letter too, a demand letter too.
Yeah.
Hey, we need you to sort that out too now on your way out. Yeah. How you gonna do that? Give me that little thing. You know? I can need that. So, yeah, you need to sort those stuff out. So you don't want to just say, okay, exit the relationship. Oh, you forget to fill out a mortgage. Oh, shoot, I didn't give the letter. Yeah, you don't tell them end the relationship, but you forget you got a mortgage. Ah, that's why you gotta look at things holistically. Yeah? So having said that, there's a paper. Let's get to the paper now. I know you all got some experience now in writing papers. Everyone all like attorneys on.
I need one of those.
Sorry.
I don't know about
Yes, ma'am.
I will not be in office today. Call it Joe, you won't call it. Oh no, I was making my mind and thought that was good.
Just want to put this on the side so we can just discuss. There was two. I think I had a headache. This one may need a staple.
Okay, from last week?
Yeah, two from last week. You didn't get one. So the lady right in the back right here. Straight ahead in the back here. She needed to get one. I think one of them needed a staple.
No problem. This week now. This week.
No, this week is last week too. It's just a continuation.
Oh, you get one handout.
Yeah. Oh, it's two. No.
You can try it out.
That's why I think it's in a hallway somewhere. Exactly where they. So who looked at the question for July's yet? Anyone look at it? Did you read it? You ain't gonna lie. I don't want you to lie. All right, just give me one quick second. We look at it. This one should be easier. I think this one is easier. This paper here is easier than the one that you just did. I don't know why we didn't, but
I don't want to see another coffee vehicle. I don't want to hear about coffee vehicle. I want to hear about
another coffee vehicle, put my money in my pocket, so I won't sit down there.
Sorry, what's that?
Nothing.
So you need a break?
No.
Oh.
Summarize it. It was stressful.
Okay, so assignment number 2.
Right.
I have copies. I think I only have like 15.
I have a
15 or 20.
real coffee. I have extra there.
One more, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I need one of those.
Yeah, let me just give a whole.
You also have copies in the back. You're so quiet. I think we're
Yeah,
good. You're in here. You're good. You're sleeping.
That's the quiet group. Okay, so looking at it.
There you go.
Oh, there's 2 pages you gave me there. Okay.
You said this question easier?
Yes, say.
This
That's
long?
my take on it. This looks to be.
I tell them there's a lot of words on this paper.
Yeah, ain't
No,
enough.
they remember that.
For 2000.
You want this question more?
But then when you write
Yeah.
She give
when you write
Yeah, some, in the
You tend to write a lot.
The
So.
second,
She was
the second
on.
one, she gave it.
Yeah, that I know.
Should give us that.
Okay, so you understand with the printing? Yeah?
She ain't got a start, yeah, we ain't got one.
You good? Got your paper? So there's actually in two parts. It's actually broken down in two parts. So, Randy Taylor is a newly appointed AML analyst. I can use me in this scenario at a financial institution in a jurisdiction of your choice. There you go. That's the first thing I'm going to say to you. The Bahamas, or who knows you better than you. So stick to the Bahamas, please. You can reference one or two other jurisdictions, but hey, for international standards maybe, but stick to your guidelines, your local legislation. Make sense? Plenty sense. Because you can always reference that easier than trying to go and research these foreign legislation you're not familiar with, especially if you work with it. So, in the jurisdiction of your choice, and in this case, it's going to be the Bahamas. The Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Okay, he is fairly inexperienced and extremely worried. He don't know his elbow from his kneecap, as he does not fully understand what is deemed to be unusual. Now remember, he's an AML analyst. AML, he's expected to be at least seasoned. He's worried. He don't know what's unusual or suspicious in the context of obligation of reporting money laundering. So, boy, he been R.M. Billy. Just say he been, we'll make up a name, R.M. Billy. So he is worried. He don't know how to do basic stuff like AML, like making a suspicious report. You see any issues with Ready Rising? You're an AML analyst. That means you have to have some kind of exposure, some kind of awareness. And for a big institution, you worried and you don't know how to basic stuff like filing a report, or you don't know the difference between unusual or suspicious. Okay. Maybe. So the head of the AML division, maybe his uncle, provided an overview for the staff at a training session, just an overview on the meaning of suspicion and what amounts to reasonable grounds to suspect. However, Randy discussed the matter with him after the session. He told Randy not to worry about this, as the firm's clients were all upstanding citizens. You see what just happened there? You telling an AML expert, don't worry about it, because all our clients are good. So you basically you ain't gonna worry about because nothing bad ever happens there. If you tell me, basically you're telling me I'm a rubber stamp. Don't look for nothing because all our clients are good. And I start off by telling you that's not the case. You just ain't aware of it yet. Because if they were all perfect, you would not a job. We don't live in a perfect world. So he said the head now telling them, don't worry about it because they're all exemplary clients. So you will have no issues. If you go into compliance profession thinking there will be no issues, why do you think the fellow can pay you all that money? You need to buy a phone and all them benefits and all that stuff. To look for, to detect unreasonable or suspicious activity that all our clients are. So you, I mean, basically you just sold yourself with a job. What's your function? What's your function? Really, what's your function? So, he does not expect the next few years to be any different. So he's telling you in the future, even. So I mean, he looked into the future and he all onboarded no high risk clients. So every client that you onboard as a bank will low risk. Bush Bank, this is what fairy tale and international standard states that you need to risk rate. We did this last week in CDD. All the clientele, whether it's low, medium, and high. But you have the head of the AML department telling you the rest of our clients for the next few years, it will be an issue. The risk isn't great. That's the issue. Yeah? No? Okay. So now extremely confused. Because you're the expert now, and your boss telling you when he hire you, but you ain't have no issues. You can be smooth sailing. You ain't have no high risk clients. And they're really good citizens. Wouldn't you be confused? Okay. So Bradley is determined to find out what his responsibilities are in respect of reporting. First and foremost, he needs to know basic stuff. because he's worried to start off with. He need to know what's unusual, what's suspicious. Does the company even have a policy on this? What is the local regulatory benchmark and standard? What is the international standard on reporting? You see what Father said? All countries need to assess. Remember I started off by saying it last week? All countries have to assess. All FIs, financial institutions, have to have risk assessment. All have to risk rate. This man is telling the AML analysts, you don't have to worry about that. That goes contrary to the standards. I see why he's confused. So he's now extremely confused, determined to find out what his responsibilities are. He speaks to his divisional head, who liaises with the head of the AML division. Now under pressure, the head decides to recruit an AML consultant. Guess who that is?
Me.
That's you. You're the one who coming in now who will do this assessment. So you're now the consultant to draft a clear and concise set of guide notes for staff around this issue. Listen to what they say. Around this issue. Don't get too sidetracked with a bunch of words around this issue. The issue really is one of unusual and suspicious, whatever. So don't forget about all the different functions and all that they're supposed to do. Listen to the key words around this issue. Yeah? Because some people may go wasting their words. You only got 3,000 words, and they may spend 1,000 on something that's unnecessary, and then what they ask you. Yeah? So, the staff, the notes will be around this issue. You're being selected as the consultant. You're paying you this big money. And asked to produce the guidance notes to be used by the firm. Basically, it's a guidance note or policy procedure. That's basically what the guidance note is. This is your guide. How we can deal with this issue. And as a compliance officer, you will get directives to prepare guidance. As perhaps may have to do something on monitoring, AML monitoring. You have to do guidance on that. Maybe on reporting, unusual activity reporting. You will always have guidance notes. It varies from institution to institution, but the information is pretty much the same. You can have it in a different layout and all that stuff, but it's the content. That's the important part. Amen? Amen? Church say?
Amen.
All right. So you have been selected as a consultant to produce the guidance notes. Part A. A section of the meaning of unusual and suspicious activity. So basically you need to throw in your little definition. Whether you want to go to Wikipedia, you want to use the FADF definition, whether you want to use from your local perspective, you said you use in your country, go to use the central bank's definition perhaps, or the FTRA, Financial Transaction Reporting Act. Their definition doesn't matter, but that has to be captured in your guidance notes. According to central bank's guideline, this is what's unusual. Or according to the Financial Transaction Reporting Act of the Bahamas, unusual or suspicious activity is defined as follows, in quotation mark. So don't make it sound like it's your words. Make sense? Because I've seen some stuff in some papers before. Some people would just quote and say, honestly, that sounds good, boy, but who you giving credit to? It sounds like the words sound good, but you gotta give credit. Yeah? I mean, you're gonna give credit in quotation. Yeah? That you see me keep doing like this, you're gonna make sure it's in quotation. And how I justify it, I put it in quotation and I put it in italic. So it's distinct that, hey, okay, I'm quoting someone right now. Make sense? So you have the meaning or the definition of the unusual and suspicious activity. The guidance should be thorough. Yeah? They're giving you some words that to live by. It should be thorough, concise, but most important, easy. You know when they say easy, that stop using all these technical jargon and all these acronyms. Like you get used to it, because I've been in a conversation before and I hear people throwing on. I was like,
Why?
my boss, she Inga Duran, she was using some words. I sent the board report and she said, "Oh, I just want to include some stuff in there." I was like, "Okay." The GRTM2. That's the what again? She said, "You don't know the GRTM?" Because I was there and I said, "The GRT, the what?" And she said, "Yeah, you remember?" And I was like, "I want to say yeah, but And she said, "You don't know what that is?" I said, "No, I don't."
That's why a lot of people lost because they
And
have to talk about acronyms.
but my boss, she uses a lot of stuff. She don't like to use waste words, she said. So she'll say, "You know the TTI?" The GRT.
Everybody
The
would know
M25.
that.
And I was like,
I speak the Queen's English. I don't speak Ebonics.
and she'll send you an email and say, okay, the answers for your question, Randy. Go to the GM. And say that, okay, but where do I find it? You say, oh, that's right next to the H2Y. And I was like, come on. Where? And I'd be like, what? Okay, like, what?
Trust me, a lot of like that.
Trust me. And I'd be like, huh? I come on the meeting dumber than what? And I said, okay.
And then when you ask them, they'd be like,
Looking at you.
You don't know.
you don't know? I'm like, no, I don't tell me.
Nobody would never know what you ever on these acronyms. Come on, what it is, and then let me.
And they make up some of these acronyms.
That's their personal
Well,
acronym, you
if
know?
you're going to be writing the paper, capture that initially. And then in bracket.
I'm putting brackets.
So I would know
I
going
think
forward.
That's what it is.
So if you
Right.
start going through that paper, all these acronyms, I don't know. Avoid it as best as you can.
That's what I use.
Because that's what you
Don't
do.
assume the examiner knows. You may have some acronyms that are unique to your territory,
I
perhaps.
spell it out.
So avoid that. Yeah? Avoid all those bunch of acronyms. So if you can use it initially, hey, FTRA is Financial Transaction Reporting Act, and bracket, FTRA, and try avoid it as much as you can. But you know, if you have to refer to it, at least it's already been established.
At least
Right.
mention it.
Yeah. So, but don't have a paper with just acronyms. So that's one of the pitfalls to a lot of people in their paper. They just assume. Don't assume the reader knows what you talk
Because
about.
they want you educated.
More than likely, they get the answer written there, and they're just looking for what's in the answer to compare it with.
Yeah. Remember now, when the examiner get the paper in front of them, you already are 100%. You know, all they doing is deducting. You already have your paper is 100%. But then when they start, oh, I see an issue there. That's 1 mark. It's just all they doing now is drawing down. You start off at 100%. But then they just pick this. Final reason now to, yeah. So a section of the FI's obligation, this is section B. This is, by the way, is 60 points. A section of the financial institution's obligations once a suspicion has been identified. So now you have, in this guidance notes, you have to have 2 sections. One that speaks to the unusual and suspicious activity, and you'd have to give examples. Now please, when you give an example, I know some folks got a tendency to copy and paste. Don't just grab something that be 600 words, because remember you got a word count, and then say, okay, we copy that. See the example at the bottom, and then you just lost 600 words. You could paraphrase. As noted in an article appearing in the Nassau Guardian dated so-and-so, it was stated that so-and-so, keep it short, to the point. Only if it's relevant to expand on your point. You ain't gonna have a bunch of stuff that would, that piece I need that, you can paraphrase. Make sense? All you're doing is showing the examiner, hey, I can explain it, I can analyze it. Yeah, if he asks you to give an example of money laundering, you know, you could give a basic generic example where an individual went to the bank with $9,500. He deposited it to his account, and he requested a wire or a draft. You know, it was derived from criminal conduct, yeah, but he requested a draft. By doing that, he would have showed the placement. It would have been cleaned up by layered. The state of the funds would have changed from cash to a draft, and then integration where he received the cash back. So the cycle is being completed. That's a basic example.
Right.
So don't go and say, well, Pablo Escobar, back in the day, you know, if they say keep it simple,
Keep it simple.
keep it simple. Yeah? They ain't asking no dissertation. So don't give them a dissertation. So, sorry? 2,500 words ain't a lot, that is true, but you start writing. One of the things, it depends. But then you gotta remember, see, what you gotta be on against is this. You have so much information coming at you. That's the thing. See, that's the problem. See, the problem is being able to put the relevant information in there. And follow what the keywords that is telling you. They said, hey, they're telling you, keep it simple. They ain't telling you to get too technical, you know, they said, listen here, keep it simple, give me a definition. Why you have to have 10 paragraphs to say what money laundering is? They tell you to keep it simple. Tell me what it is. Give me a definition. Give me an example. Can you tell me that in 100 words? If the man tell you that, put it in 100 words. It makes sense? I'm just saying. I don't sound like a preacher, but just saying. So, a section on this part B, obligations, you need to speak to that. The reason why they ask for obligation, they want to see that you have a working definite idea of legislation. No? But, question? The part B, when it says that the FI is obligation, they want to see that you know basically local legislation. What does the legislation say you're required to do? Remember? Central bank said you must do this, you're required to do that. Okay, now you say you're from the Bahamas and you're using the Bahamas as your guide. What is your local requirements dictate of you? Basically, that's what they're doing. And this is where you could cite.
So you have to go through all of those over there.
You don't have to. You don't have to. No. See the trick again? They talking about reporting. So you're only looking at reporting legislation. Like when you go to FTRA, it speaks to that. You could go maybe to the FIU guidance. You could go to central bank guidance. You don't have to use all. Don't give them every day. They're only asking around the area of and why is it necessary. And you don't have to use all. You could use one or two. Don't use all. Remember, you still have a word coming. The most important one, I would suggest that you use the FTRA, financial transaction reporting. I would use that. And the FIU one, because these are the people who are going to receive it. So they know how they want it, how you should report it, then you report it. So if it was me, I would use FIU Act, and I would use the FTRA. You could use the central bank guidelines. I'm not saying you can't do it, but just a preference for me. It's just to demonstrate you know you have an obligation, and they have that in law that you have to. Yeah. Because you know with the MLR, when you fail to report, that's $20,000 right there. You can even put that in there. When you have the obligation, why do I want to do this? Because this is the thing called fine. Yeah, and then of course, by extension, you could, and we're talking of reputational risk, damage your institution. Of course, we know you can get fired. But I mean, let's be real, you cost the bank a couple of dollars, you know they ain't giving you. You go on. But by extension, reputational risk, legal risk. So this gives substance to why. There should be a section in your paper, in there too, with this guidance saying that penalty for non-compliance or consequences for non-compliance. If you have a little heading like that, that would be good, because that shows that, hey, you know what you're required to do. Local regulatory requirements, and then have another section that says consequences for non-compliance. Because when you start seeing the fines, that's based on the FTRA and central bank guidance on that stuff, FIU, ROC. Now we're saying, okay, you know he has an obligation, and he got enough sense to know that if he don't do this, this is what will happen to him, because he has a personal liability and to the institution. Make sense? You get fined 20 grand, that's the MLRO, and the institution $100,000. That's 120 grand right there. Know how much people that can pay? How much bills that can pay? So these things you need to think of. So that's part one for now. As far as track to part two. Apps. That's the big flavor of the month. You don't roll your eye. You think what you got from now till July. Trust me, everyone get A on this thing. Yeah, I think because this one is even clearer than the last before it's come. This one is clearer. This one is easier, matter of fact. So y'all, it's just all you need to do is just start fleshing it out now. Then go ahead and start. Think about it. This is a trick I use. Don't try to do everything in one night. Don't never try, because you'll get some new information. Pace yourself. Don't say, don't get me wrong, don't try to send the paper on the night. It's due on the night. I ain't telling you to do that. You should at least give yourself some grace period, at least 3 days before, 4 days before. Look it over, put your information down, then leave it alone. Come back and look at it with fresh eyes. And say, you know what, this didn't make no sense the other night when I right here. Yeah. You do that with fresh pair of eyes. Like sometimes, I'll tell you, You ever had to send some email to someone and you said, you know what, I can just put it in my drive?
Yeah.
You know, that password you gotta delete that. Yeah, it happens. So let's fast track to part 2. So in part 2, we're talking about PEP. You now have a good definition of PEPs. We have gone through that before, politically exposed persons. Remember, I keep touching on those earlier. PEPs. They have these prominent public function, they trust in these positions where they can influence decisions, where they can control the purse strings. All of these stuff are inherent risk. That's why they're risky. And further that, you can look at the FATF standard, because they went here and they talk about the guidance on PEPs. Recommendations 12 and 22, and it goes into that. And you need to, as part A or part 2 now, you need to even. How does the jurisdiction which you are familiar define a PEP? You can use the definition of central bank guidelines. Yeah. According to the Central Bank of the Bahamas AML guidelines, the PEP is defined as follows: comma, quotation mark. This is what they're saying. And then of course you have the footnote to the bottom, you have the number and it's linked to that, and then you have your bibliography at the back. Because everything has to be linked. You can't take credit for nothing that you didn't write. That's not your idea. So you have to give the credit. Outside that's plagiarism, they wouldn't even look at the rest of the paper. It's automatic fail.
I just have a question before you continue. Why do they call the footnote?
Exactly.
Yeah, because I tell you, you should
I-
become that. That's my
Some
word count, 'cause I didn't give
footnotes,
credit to what it is. That should be considered.
That is your word count. That was mine.
But they come back with your word count.
And word is not
And
very.
that adds up.
Their rationale is you don't have
Word has a flaw in
to
it.
say a lot to get the point across.
Oh,
So your aim, your focus should be trying to tell the story without having a whole zine,
Yeah.
basically.
okay.
So if they count it, that's what it is. But you should be able to condense that in a way that it can be conveyed to another person. They can say, oh, I see what they're trying to say. Some people, they write a lot and really ain't saying nothing. I mean, Lord forgive me from saying this, but I've listened to You're close?
Yeah, close.
I've listened to some speeches by, I hope I ain't heard no one by saying this, Harry Christie. And he says, oh, he's just talking all this stuff, and I was like, he was talking. He was at a function once when he was prime minister, and they were talking about sudden infant death syndrome. And he was there, and I said, oh, the PM, he don't need no script. He just talking. Then he started talking about because we are a coastal region, the water level can rise. How the hell that have to do with baby, sudden baby death? But it sounds so good. He said, I said, and I said, sound like BS. But he good. Some people don't like that. I hope I don't know about it. But
So the
it
using
sounds
of
good. Some people, it sounds really good.
yeah, he
So-
does in his speeches. So using big words don't count, like what people don't know what the meaning and thing is.
Remember, you don't, your line staff, don't assume they know what you're talking about. You make your vocabulary maybe way up there. I'm blessing you for that. But then you want to keep it simple. They made it. They specifically saying, hey, keep it easy, user friendly. This is not for the technocrats. This is for the layman. This is so anyone can pick it up and say, okay, I see what they're saying. This makes sense.
They only can come to an answer with this meaning. They want you to
I've seen some technical papers, and I was like, Jesus, what are they trying to say here? My boss, Judith, my boss, one of the boss, she has a background in technology, and she used a lot of this technical jargon. And you reading the paper, she said, "You only come back with your feedback." I said, "Feedback." I still on page 1. I trying to figure out what you were saying. She said, "What you mean? You had that for 2 days now?" I said, "But it ain't more than that now. I don't understand." It's a question. Oh.
Yes.
So, so you need to be comfortable with the definition of PEP as it relates to the Bahamas. You can use the central bank guidelines. That's a good definition, by the way, of PEP. And then you need to have the issues surrounding PEPs. What kind of issues do you have with PEPs? Influence, cronies, circle of friends, and remember, even though out of office, they still have a lot of power. They still influence a lot of stuff. Let me give an example. You think Mr. Ingram could get stuff done if he wanted to right now?
They love Papa.
Again, the reason why is because it ain't my problem, but anyhow, it ain't my problem. But they do have, they wield a lot of influence. And they still have power, even though they're not in power per se. Yeah.
Get that influence, yeah.
So the FATF recommendations 12 and 22, and they said that what's the impact on firms dealing with PEPs? And it spells out in 12 and 22, what is the impact of dealing with a PEP? And that, I think that's spelled over right there. So going on to the part 2.
Okay.
Sorry?
Oh, that's okay.
What's the question?
No.
Where do we start? Balance costs about it. Hold on. No, you don't have to read into that.
For me, so.
With the these are my drawings on it. I only have like 12 paper. I only made 12 copies.
Careless.
12? Oh, all right then. So I looked at the question what was posted just now, and I started to put some of my notes.
All right, we'll take it.
I'll listen, I'll take it.
Guidance.
Yes.
Guidance.
So you can just pass them back. There's only 12 copies here.
Everybody can do it.
Yeah, it's just my ideas now. So I mean, you ain't gotta use them, but it's just to start to flesh it out.
But you got an A on this paper.
No, this is your question here. I'm just flashing it out.
Oh.
So I just
Yeah,
want
well,
to.
But you got
Board
A's on
really
your
want it.
paper?
Go ahead, right? Oh, yeah, go ahead and write that right around there. What's a laughing? What's a
You don't
laughing?
have to turn that into turn it in.
But yeah, it's okay. The one thing with
I didn't see this
compliance,
before.
Everybody.
listen, your compliance, you gotta think about the integrity too. You can't, we preach
I just
integrity.
have an idea of what to do.
No, we just want to hide it.
Yeah, what to do. You know,
Yeah,
more
right.
guidance
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the thing. Now she
No.
can do something like this. Maybe.
It wasn't fair
I
then.
don't want to someday just point things out.
I mean, that's all I have.
Make.
So,
I want my friend to know.
Who goes to the W?
Brian could just send
he
the
can
email.
give you.
Brian send email.
No, he can give you his own, because he mean it way together.
Oh.
Oh, so you get advantage.
Why you take that
He
paper?
good.
Why you take that?
He wouldn't need that. So you see what I started to do with the, like I said, you see how it has the introduction? This is what I recommend for you. Because a guidance note, you really want to start with an introduction. You want to have an overview?
Yes,
She
she
did
does.
this class.
You got another way you want to try it? Or?
Nice.
Now, this is uncopyright protected to me, so you're not gonna use it.
I didn't.
Uncopyright protected to me.
She's
You're the other one.
But usually with the guidance, this is the guidance,
Oh,
the standard we would do. This is the way we do it. So if y'all want to, if your organization have another way of doing your guides, so you want to dump another one, it's up to you. But I thought this was an easy way out. If you could have it started out with your introduction,
I did it.
it answers these concerns here. Got your introduction. Part 2 will have your overview. What are unusual and suspicious activity? Then you have your sound suspicious activity reporting principles. And then you have a subsection here like how to identify these transactions, idea of red flags, and what should be inside a good suspicious report. The contents, because that's important to try to make it as, matter of fact, once you read this, you can even make it even more simple. This is just what came to the top of my head and I just thrown it. So you need to have your guidance, your introduction. The guidance notes intended to provide assistance to staff at firm. I use firm ABC. If your firm, you want to make up a name, whatever. In meeting our obligations to make suspicious reports, because that's what it's centered around. This ain't nothing else. That's why I focus, strictly on the reporting. To the FIU, and the reports go to the FIU. And the overview, what are unusual and suspicious? So I went in there and have some definitions in there. And of course, with your definitions, you can cite where you get it from. So while I may not have it there, wherever you got it from source, you need to give reference to that. According to, sound suspicious activity reporting principles, I have that in there. And it's basically a skeleton, and I just broke it down. When you do it like this, you can see where you're going, pretty much. As opposed to just keep writing my note. Have your structure in the beginning. This is how the rest of the paper will look, and you can follow the pattern. and if you want to wrap it up, you can have a conclusion. You don't have to, because this is a live document. I mean, it's always changing. You always have to amend.
Yeah.
So you don't have, I wouldn't
That'd be the last
pigeonhole you
thing.
by putting a conclusion.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Sentences,
No.
something like that.
No. So how to identify the suspicious activity, and I have included there's some factors, and there's nothing wrong with putting bullets. You can put bullets in. Yeah. You can put bullets in.
No,
That's why I was saying, like how you got on page 3 with the red flags. You don't have to use those. There's millions of red flags. But these are just some ones that I chose at the time. Whenever you're gonna have submit a suspicious report as the MLRO, these are the contents of a good report. Yeah, who was involved in the suspicious activity? What happened? These are the principles again, the W's. Who, what, when, where, why. Basically, once you cover those, you cover off the report. Basically, once you answer the W's. And then, of course, that information, you can cite that if you want. That came directly from, you can Google it, it's called the Suspicious Activity Reporting for Dummies. It's the special edition, the most recent one. You can cite that, yeah. Internal reporting steps. You should have an internal mechanism. How does the reports get to the MLRO or the compliance officer? You need to have that step
So
spelled
you
out.
have a generic box where the.
Yeah,
whatever.
whether it's email, hand-delivered, hard copy, but you need to speak to that. Once they would form the suspicion, now the next line of business is getting that suspicious report, internal report to the MLRO, who's gonna review and make a decision. So you need to have the internal reporting steps, and then the money laundering officer's rule. You see, it's almost like a step-by-step guide showing everything. So if they ever need to go to the policy, they say, okay, we're at this stage right now. Yeah? The legal obligation, basically, why are you doing what you're doing? Because some things you just don't want to do. But you got this thing called the law. That's why you're doing it. Yeah. So, I've cited a few. We're at page number 4. Why are you doing what you're doing? Such as the FDRA, remember that? Central Bank, saying you gotta do it. If you wanna maintain that license with them, this is a requirement and it's an obligation as a licensee. Proceeds of Crime Act. When you hear that Proceeds of Crime Act, you know automatically think of jail
Yes.
on predicate offenses. So if you have a suspicion of any predicate offense, you need to find that. Matter of fact, in the new updated amended FTRA, the wrong to tell you, we just heard this from the regulator yesterday. As it comes to suspicion, it's not reasonable suspicion, knows or may know. They've added a new word in now, ought to know. That's going to be added now in the new, it's in the bill now. So when you see the law again, you ought to know. So you ain't got no excuse. They cover everything. Whether you know, you think you know, reasonably you should know. Now they add an ought to know.
So that means when we do it, we get better, no bills to that.
No, if it's still a bill, ain't law yet.
I mean, but you know what I'm doing now, right?
No, but I'm just throwing that out just for your knowledge. But I mean, it hasn't happened as yet. But have in the back of your mind that, hey, the definition is changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, when definitions change, when,
Yeah, but they trying to make sure they're on the block.
but yeah, we need to get off the list.
So they speeding up everything.
We speed up, yeah, we escalating. Remember? We escalating.
They
How
said,
many say they're hoping to get off it by tomorrow?
no, he said we might get off.
We might.
Tomorrow. Same thing as hoping.
Tomorrow we'll get steps on how to get off.
Yeah, same thing as
No
hoping.
confirmation.
No, I said hoping, I didn't say
So,
it.
yeah.
Thought you're gonna say it.
So we do the fast track to page 5. Remember how I rounded up by saying consequences for non-compliance? It makes no sense just to tell the staff, why, you know, we tell them, hey, this is what we have, procedure, this is why we're doing it, and this is what will happen if you don't do it. So you see where it's coming full cycle? This is what's unusual, this is what to look for, this is why you're doing this, and if you don't do it, this is what possibly gonna happen. So basically, that's the guidance right there. So now y'all have a good idea how to go and start running with that, right? Yeah?
Yes.
So now let's flip it to part 2 in the page. So you go over to page number 6, because there was 2 parts to the question. And this is along the lines of PEPs. And I highlighted some of the issues that you would see as relates to PEPs. Because they did ask the question, evaluate the issues around the FAT definition. Recommendations 12 and 22. And I highlighted a few of those. Beneficial ownership, remember we keep talking about that? All last week, and I said, boy, listen here, you will see that a lot. PEPs, they exert a lot of influence. And because they don't want to just be seen controlling the funds, by extension, immediate family, friends, whatever. But they're really the beneficial owners. So you gotta expand on beneficial ownership. You could be the beneficial owner from a distance. Everyone who holds an account ain't really the beneficial owner. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
You could have an account,
That's
but
right.
you really holding that money for, let's just say,
That's
I
right.
can't go to the bank and open an account. I'm a drug dealer.
So I use
You're a mule, you're
Yeah.
my surrogate. You can go and open an account. But I know you ain't gonna do that because they'll find you floating if
That's right.
you fool my money. But you, you know I own that account. I really control that. You just the face on the account.
No, they
Make
Grammy
sense?
do it.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, Grammy.
Huh?
No, Grammy do it. What about
Well, always good. Everyone can
long
play Grammy, but you ain't Grammy them have the tendency of dying. So you want to probably get
So
someone
it's
like your
what?
mother. Back in the day, seriously, back in like in the early 90s, most rugbyers, they always used to use their mom.
time?
I don't know why.
Or put in their mom name, but then they slept with the girlfriend, but sometimes the girlfriend hair is
It's
thick,
good,
and they want to buy all kind of stuff, and they're like, hey,
They say God.
how much we get? How much?
Mhm.
And then they start, the boyfriends actually, well, how much we get in the bank? Oh,
Me?
Oh,
me?
yeah.
Oh, right now.
That Masha.
Yeah, but
Masha?
yeah, so that was the issue. So you got stuff like issues with families and associates. You see, that's another one. Due to their close proximity, they divest themselves of the assets by giving it to in the care of those family and friends. The detailed assessment of real financial crime, inherent the risks of recent role in the. So you could even expand on that. Their susceptibility to corruption. You could expand on all of that. Beneficial ownership, immediate friends, family who could be used as controllers. Central bank guidelines, you could even cite that too, because they speak to the definition of the PEP. Remember I told you about that earlier? You could use their definition if you so desire. The reason why I would say you use that, because you're talking about from a Bahamas jurisdiction perspective. But if you find another definition in another piece of legislation, you could use it.
We good, we
But-
good.
Page number 7. They did say examine the FATS recommendation 12 and 22 and the impact when it comes to dealing with these PEPs. And I just said stuff like all PEPs are considered high risk. All PEPs are high risk. There's no such thing as a low risk PEP. Once you're a PEP, you are high risk. So once you're high risk, that means you have to do enhanced due diligence. Then you got to do enhanced due diligence, what that's called for. More paperwork, more reviews, more resources, because it's expensive. So how does it impact a financial institution? It's more expensive to do, because if you got a newspaper boy, there's a company gonna have maybe $200 a month pass through there. My Lord, I know. My Lord is exactly. But if you have a member of parliament whose salary is supposedly $26,000 a year, but he's depositing $50,000 every month, you gotta review that. You ain't gotta worry about a newspaper boy. So that means you gotta put so much attention and focus there. It's gonna be costly, time consuming. Time is cost too, because if you gotta put so much time looking at all the MP's accounts, that's time. Either you gotta allocate someone to that, or you have to get an automated system which is gonna be expensive to just review at various thresholds, dollar thresholds. So it's costly. Can't get around that. Make sense? So it's gonna be costly. That's how it impacts your firm or your bank. According to the FATF recommendation, I wasn't sure if the recommendation number 33 that confirmed that when conducting CDD, you're required to identify the beneficial ownership. Who's the beneficial owner again? If the person who is acting on behalf of the customer is identified as a family member or close relative, you need to go and do additional research, show the connection, and that could be time consuming and laborious. I don't know if you ever noticed this, when it comes down to PEPs or people who are high net worth, it ain't easy getting information from them. They're like your average customer when you say, I need, so why you need that? You know who I am. Don't you see me going to Parliament? I'm like, yeah, I see you going there, but I still need utility bills. And they're like, you know who I am.
You know what? Yeah.
I live in Blair. So,
So question, Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
So, like how we have the like you say, member of parliament, and let's just looking at what has happened with some of these member of parliaments being charged for
I
bribery,
didn't start off by
corruption.
saying this.
and
It's
stuff
nothing
like
wrong
that.
with being a pet. Only thing you have to do is closely monitor
But-
and ask for more
But
information.
what I wanted to ask you is, I know we have our financial institutions here, like, when, let's say, a PEP put his money, like, would they say some of them have their money in offshore banks and stuff like that? Would they do the same thing, even though, like, they're not a PEP in that jurisdiction, they're a PEP in this jurisdiction, but
Well,
they're depositing their money, something like that?
Last week class was something called CDD. When you put a name like a OB pending out there, if you got a new customer, you walk, you go in Switzerland and say, I woke up now. So I do a world check.
It can come up, it can come up, it can still say
Are you the
PPP.
OB pending from the Bahamas?
Yeah.
Do you have any legal documentation like a passport? Okay, just match up to the.
The same thing.
Bahamas.
This world check is with the passport.
But I'm trying to understand how they can get the teeth money and hide money if you're doing that. But if you say in your salary when you produce and say that I thousand and stuff like that, it just ain't add
Now-
to me
They
with
ain't really
financial
showing all that.
institutions. But you laundering.
People have loopholes.
Not necessarily that you, but think about it is this. When you're, let's me use a member of parliament for example, you have to make a public disclosure. Because you're gonna be in an office where and one on trust. Trust is not a control. Not because I trust you, mean I can give you total control. Remember, that's one thing you learn in compliance. Trust is not a control. Because I trust everyone in this room. You think I can leave all the money on the table every day because I trust everyone in here? Let's be real. You know, it can be one of them days when you gas cage anyway.
Yeah, your pension every night.
Yeah.
Just take what Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they can miss this
Just to
thing.
take the time to pay it.
So trust would that apply as a control? No.
No, no.
But I know one thing, like, remember when I worked at Lannis for a bit, in the cash gauge, in the count room, soft count. Before you go in there, you need to put on your smock. You ain't got no pockets.
Wrap up.
You wrap up. When you touch anything, you gotta show us. I ain't got nothing.
That's right.
Even, you know, it was so bad. I remember when I went to Super Value one day, and I was like, and they said, what happened to you?
Yeah.
Because you've been doing it so long. And they're like, what's wrong with you, son? Why you start clapping? Like, and it's-
Want to clear your hand?
you want to clear your hand. I mean, that's just a rule. But then it's,
Because they used to slide money down.
you could,
down the
yeah.
hand.
So that then they start wearing the rubber band and the straps around your arm. But then, you know, everywhere you walk, I walk in the hotel like, what happened to him? He retired. But it is what
And
it
if you
is.
touch a person, you gotta do it.
If you touch the person, you know, they you have no experience every day.
Drop it.
But it is what it is. But with the PEP, no, you have to demonstrate to your regulator that you went or you have sufficient reasonable means to demonstrate that you know their net worth, income. Because you have to differentiate, because if the fella, I ain't saying some MPs ain't rich. You got some who got money. But then you still have to be able to separate his money
Yeah.
from the treasury.
Right.
You know he only getting this 26,000. He didn't disclose any other means of income, but then he made deposit 50,000. Any red flags?
Some
Hell
contracts.
yeah!
Some contracts.
Hell yeah! So you need to start asking questions.
And then
There's
cash.
something about the old money.
You go to old money, you don't go to old money.
So you now have a skeleton there. I also did some assignment tips.
My lord.
You need that.
Sometimes I can only have like
You
12.
want it all.
Well, yes.
He need that. He
Yeah,
need
don't
that.
even
He
take
good.
nothing.
Yeah, he probably will.
Why you need that?
If you work with
Walk right to his
you could walk
office.
right there and get that.
Just making sure this is sufficient here. This is the actual paper that I did with the guidance notes
He need that.
included in it. So I can make
Yeah,
sure
we
we got
skip
enough.
them in.
So everyone will have
The
one.
one you gonna
This-
copy tomorrow.
This one right here actually
Yeah, he going to copy tomorrow.
demonstrates the bibliography is one to fall down area for folks too. So this one here has the bibliography at the back. You can either use the reference what's cited, but I mean for me, I like to use
All is the same thing. What you got?
yeah, it's a matter of preference. Let me see if I got enough for everyone.
He need one.
So 12, because excluding them.
Exclude
Exclude
them.
them.
Yeah, he need
You
it.
need that. You walk right to your office.
As long as it's 1%.
I have 11.
Yeah, he don't need one. It's
But
11.
it's 12.
No, it's 11.
No, it's 13 people in here right now, and if you exclude them, it's 12,
May
so
come
we need
there
like copy.
6,
But it's 13.
Yeah.
And what about hand from there? No, it's 8 of us,
Well,
so we
who
can.
anyone here work together? I think 2 persons.
Oh,
No.
I'm not saying about
That's what I'm saying, think what you all counting.
Oh, quiet today, sorry.
I'm saying that we gotta make an
Just
extra
make one
week.
copy. Just for someone just make
Just
one
need to make
copy.
one copy.
Just like I said to Ronnie, yeah, probably.
And you know, what reason? You have to tell your credit to them. Yeah.
There you go. I got a copy of that. We have a copy of it.
She get one, you get one right.
Yeah.
She ain't got one.
Oh, you just say, now if you say according to them, you
It is go like 30 seconds for one page.
What?
It's quick, it's like
Just pick it up on the way out.
yeah, we should do it now, so when you leave it, if you
you would want to do that, because see, it's borderline, plagiarism. It's easy for you, it's just easy to quote them and you would have that happen. So with this particular paper that I gave you, it's not the one you just got. That one is it's probably the easier one. It has actual guidance.
compared to corporate vehicles, this is easier.
So
I don't see another corporate vehicle in my life.
Remember what she said about
You did that
vehicle?
paper with corporate vehicles as well when you
That
did
was
the class?
before,
Well, I wasn't here.
so we were
I came
getting
in.
No, but I mean when you
yeah.
did the course, you said you did it 10 years ago. That was in one of your papers.
I'm not sure. I don't think I did that.
They put it on us like.
But the one that I just gave you, it has sample on the front. I blocked out one or two. That's the name of the institution. I didn't want to. So I guess if
No problem.
you piggyback and you decide you want to use some for that, on the first paper, and you're to marry to, and then put your additional information, and at least you have an outline how it should look. The second part, as it relates to the PEP, you can go to town on that, and be mindful of your word count. And here's another tidbit. Don't wait. This was right now. This is today's the 11th.
11.
Don't let the enemy come and you ain't
Stop.
at least 3/4 finished. At least you got a good start, head start tonight. So you really ain't got no excuse to wait for the night before and say, oh, let me try to get it. By enemy, if you want to enjoy your joint,
So you enjoy your whole summer.
yeah, you wouldn't want to be thinking about that. And the good thing about it is once you already start fleshing it out now and tweaking it and adding and changing it around, you could always come back again with fresh eyes and look at it again. Yeah, but you don't want to take it. Just oh, yeah, you don't want that. They tell you, yeah. They tell you. So now, so we would have, you got the picture copy? Oh.
She got this one.
Did everyone sign the register? There's a register going on. Did anyone have the
You
register?
want the single one, the single thing?
The attendance register.
You got the,
Yes,
all of the
I have it.
Yeah.
Oh, Ronnie, give me that, please.
Anyone missing anything?
So, we got, make sure is everyone here? 13? Yeah. So, having said that, last week we would have done the CDD, that's 10, about module 10, and 11 would have been your escalation and your exits. We basically broke those down. So you have my PowerPoint for both the CDD and the escalation and exits. You have the sample of the how a guideline should look. I did a breakdown, put my little thoughts together on that. Some tips for the writing the paper. So having said that, thank you for your time. So I guess I will see you all again until.
Are you doing the second part?
No, you all run me after
This is
that.
last class with us.
No, I mean like when we do the second part, like the second part next to the governance and the governance and compliance part.
If they call me, they ask me, it's like, if they,
They send you an email.
Yeah, don't worry.
They send you an
I would have any support with this. The pool of us.
Cool, guys.
Better check them. Better understand than I do.
So I don't think no one uploads because everyone should get paid, right?
Yeah.
Alright. So having said that, good night, folks.
Already doing quick submit.
For governance, I don't think they may have a final.
You got enough people who want to request
They
this?
changing it, they have a final now.
Yeah, I know it now.
The governance.
Yeah, so instead of a final, you do 3 pages. You may have to do.
How much? I thought you would go to the next one.
Honey, I want a mission. She did it. I want a mission.
Oh, you gonna do it like that? But she told me to take no lectures.
No, that's why she's
She is and she's busy drafting them legislation.
I know she's doing.
Hold on, Miss Lottie. So, I had to say,
I think they may change. I can't read the
I know.
They don't pay you as hard. So they don't pay you as hard as the one makes out.
That's why, yeah, because, that's why, they try to as much as possible.
So what's right? Don't get another one.
Anything below 40 got me doing. But then the thing about it is I have an email, you have to send this. I have an email address. Right there, you have a problem. Yeah, it's like I told the I say the email address, they can send it, you should have sent it to that. If you have a, if you like problems with sending it to the system, it was an email address they tell you to send it to.
Well, she didn't get, I received a paper she got, something to say something about.
That is not.
It's not recorded, right. That's what she got, but I think.
I didn't get that, no.
So don't say that.
I didn't get that, no.
She got, she got an email that said it was a paper, they got, she got a different email.
I got the one confirmation say it was submitted. It was accepted.
She got something.
Yeah, that's what she got. She didn't get.
Yeah, because see what happens is when it's uploaded, it's going through, it turn it in. Because it tells you, it say, okay, turn it in, it's accepting your paper. And then mine came back, so your paper was successfully submitted.
I to say something that's not similar to somebody else. What? She didn't get something to say that
She had been right, basically.
It say that it was not similar.
yeah, like something like
Is not.
something like that.
The report is similar. No. If it's not, then they should accept it. But if it is, then it would not be accepted.
That's probably why, that's probably why she didn't get the email.
Right.
Did she click into
So-
the agreement? Whatever? Did you say something?
So,
We don't know. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
I was on vacation last week, right?
She didn't get the email that said that they accept that they.
I need a break now.
no, that email comes. Listen.
Yeah.
You send that,
That you
comes
send
just like
it.
that.
No, but
I got
maybe she
mine
didn't
on.
check her personal email to notice that there was a receipt.
Yes.
She was saying,
But
She thought
had-
everybody got that
if she
same
could log back
email.
onto the website, you will see what you submitted.
Yeah,
it would show you.
that.
It would
That's
show
something
you.
instantaneously.
I
Not
know.
even when you send
But
the
she should
paper,
check her
I
personal
tell
I
you
email.
tell her
that.
when you send that paper,
At the time.
Anna would send her email.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you was right for the 6 hours ahead, cause I saw
Yes.
it. Yeah, but it
Yes.
don't matter.
They said, they,
12.
yeah,
Okay.
because their system, if it's outside of what the hour equivalent is,
Yeah,
then
you
there's
told
no.
us that their time, but once you within that time
In
frame.
that time frame, but yeah.
Once you before 12.
Yeah.
And that sends that instantaneously.
Yeah, just as you
Yeah, I
said
got
that.
that.
Just, I tell you, as soon as I
Yeah,
send
on
it,
that
and
same
as soon as
screen.
scan it, the email came
Yeah.
just like that.
Yeah.
But the thing, Brian, is that everyone get email. I said, I ain't got too much control of it. I said what? Yeah, we don't, you want me, you know. That's my thought.
No, she did a one line
No,
thing to say something,
no,
but
no,
not
yes.
similar to another paper. She didn't get it. That's what she got. She didn't get some. She didn't
Got something
get.
that's that
She
is
didn't.
not.
They didn't say that.
They even, you know, they did too. They upload the paper for you
Yeah.
to see.
To
Yeah,
see.
that's not.
Uh-huh.
See that
Yeah.
that they got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did that
The
with
results of
you
your
too.
paper was in the email.
On the
Exactly.
What you wrote,
Yeah.
it came in the email.
Yes, that first
And I look at it like,
paragraph.
Jesus Christ, this thing deep, they just,
Yeah.
just send me back everything
They
right?
send you back
Yeah.
that paper.
Even with,
They all
even
got
with, even like quotes and everything came back in the email.
So don't try them.
So that should tell you how turning it works.
Yeah, but you should get a receipt, I mean, it's automatic, you know?
Nikki, you got it right?
Yeah, I kind of wait for this girl right now.